the big story of the day has been, obviously, over the last 24 hours. Not really much of a surprise, but of course, Tulsi Gabbard has decided to leave formally the Democratic Party.
Like,
couldn't see that.
That's not news.
Yeah.
That was news?
Yeah.
How is that news?
Well, of course, it was an opportunistic move on her part. It was opportunistic for this reason. It was opportunistic because she decided to make a big announcement all across social media in conjunction with her latest appearance on Joe Rogan and officially launching her own podcast.
How convenient.
There's always intention. There's never just one, like, I'm just doing this because I really believe in this. No, it's like, let me see how much I can get out of this while I have the opportunity.
Well, yeah. Now, I could also explain that there's we do that to some extent too. Some of that is politics. Some of that is strategy and making smart moves and trying to figure out what puts you in the best position and all that. Some of that is true. But it ultimately comes down to, what's your mission? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you doing that for your own career? Are you doing that for your own pocket? Or are you doing that for your bigger mission, which is something that serves a majority of people? So there's nothing wrong with strategizing and being politically strategic and smart and making calculated decisions on where you go and who you promote with. That's all good. That's not a problem. That's actually smart marketing. I don't have a problem with that. But when it's so self-serving, it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I definitely do not see the decision that
Why was she ever a Democrat?
Well, I mean, again, you can only be a Democrat in Hawaii, just like you can only be a Republican in Alaska. There are certain things that you can only do. Again, the circumstance surrounding the lady who won the congressional race in Alaska as a Democrat is probably a very temporary thing. However, sometimes everyone breaks through. In the case of Tulsi, she's always been very politically independent. It is a one-party state.
Well, but the woman who you're saying won as a Democrat, she won against Sarah Palin, right?
Correct.
Okay. That's a low bar.
It is a low bar.
That's a low bar.
It's a low bar, but it's a bar that was crossed nonetheless. And so, in the case of Tulsi Gabbard, who I always had a great deal of respect for when I knew her again, you never really know somebody. I mean, I always respected the fact that she served our country dutifully, and I really appreciated that. I've met her multiple times, and we've had nice conversations. I don't really have anything ill to say about her from that perspective. But, the most important thing was she was second in line behind Debbie Wasserman Schultz at the DNC for several years. But when she figured out what was going on over the course of the 2016 Democratic primary, she decided, I can't do this.
And I still respect that regardless of what else has happened. That was still the move of integrity.
Now, again, she may have been, some people think that that's political opportunism, but I got to tell you, where she was at that time, that was not political opportunism under any circumstances. They were grooming her to be somebody really high up in that party. And she decided, well, you know what? I have to keep my integrity. So
with her leaving the party, so now is she saying she going to the Republican Party, or is she no party affiliation?
No party affiliation, but she is kind of, I don't know, she's kind of hinting at that whole third party thing. That's kind of what she's been talking about.
You mean I heard about something about her with Andrew Yang?
That might be possible. I'm not going to say it isn't, but we don't know anything yet. They both ran for president. They're probably friendly. We'll see what happens.
I have no particular issue with Tulsi whatsoever. Actually, the only, and I mean, I don't agree with her politics. That's what I'm saying. I don't support her politics, but there's a lot of people who I don't support their politics. My problem with her is I feel like there's no clear answer. It's almost like how I feel about Charlie Crist. You're where are you? Where are you? And I don't mean label-wise. I mean, where are you?
And that was the thing. And that was the only thing that we put out on social media today was that if we could ask Tulsi one question, it's, do you still support Bernie Sanders and what he stands for? Because to me, that's really all that matters.
Well, that's what I mean. What do you?
If she no longer supports what Bernie is espousing, then I have to question very, very highly how much she really was being honest about where she stood in the first place.
Well, that's why people think it was political calculation in the first place. And maybe it was. And maybe it was. And maybe, I'm naive about thinking that. But I think she's just somebody who really, if I look at her with the exception of her supporting Bernie and taking a stand on Bernie, otherwise I don't think she would have ever been on my radar. I would have never really known about her. And I probably would have never really supported her because a lot of her politics are just way too far right.
And again,
for me.
Tulsi is very socially conservative. like
Which-
very socially conservative.
Which is not my thing.
If that's your prerogative, then that's fine. Now, I think that people have a great deal of overreaction to the fact that she is like that.
Gamecock, are you asking us?
Do we
Because
support-
I support funding for no wars.
Yeah.
Unless somebody is coming up on our shores and threatening our country, our physical country, and yes, that does include islands, but like, unless that's happening, no, I don't support funding wars. I don't support imperialism. I don't support us butting into everyone else's business so that our military industrial complex can make money and we could steal their natural resources and control their people. No, I don't support that. I don't support funding that. I don't support any of that. So no. And I'm against the next war after this one.
Definitely
I want
agree.
that on the record.
Definitely agree with that. And of course, Tulsi, I mean, who can forget the job that she did when she got on the debate stage? I mean,
It was
what
kind of
she
glorious.
did to Kamala Harris,
was
I mean, my
glorious.
goodness, she really knocked her off. I mean, she really did.
See, that
And-
is the thing. One thing I do like about Tulsi. She got balls.
And she paid the
got
price
balls.
for that. And what makes it even, but to me, and this is where I think Tulsi made the colossal mistake. When Hillary Clinton came out of her nest and decided to say that essentially, Cody, we love you, brother. Thanks for coming on
Hey!
so quickly.
That's our friend from tonight.
You know, the fact that the fact that Hillary had to come out of her nest and say that a woman who serves in the military, in the U.S. military, who is in the medical unit, is actually a traitor and a Russian asset and all this crap. And the Democratic establishment went with what Hillary was saying.
But of course.
The problem is Tulsi's response to this, to call Hillary Clinton queen of the warmongers. Yeah, in the moment, it's a viral tweet. Everyone's either excited about it or hating her for it or whatever. Tulsi had an opportunity in that moment to respond as a soldier, to basically say, you're wrong, Hillary Clinton. I serve my country honorably, and you have started multiple wars. And that would have gotten her a lot of juice. I believe that. She handled it wrong, and everything has basically gone downhill as a result. And she found herself being welcomed with open arms by the political right. Now, why, Jen, would she be welcomed with open arms by the political right?
Because they hate all things Hillary Clinton.
That would be one reason. Number two, Tulsi is a woman of honor, and that matters a lot to people on the right.
It does.
The Democrats have, for a very long time, completely discounted the military and servicemen and women in many ways.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Well, and I, as somebody who is anti-war and anti-war department, we don't have a Department of Defense. We have an offense. I actually do respect people that have served a lot, because contrary to the geopolitical issues that I have, to me, for the most part, people who serve believe in something greater than themselves, and I respect that. So that to me does matter. And I actually do appreciate the idea of our commander-in-chief, having served. Like, I actually appreciate that idea. And somebody who's going to be making decisions about other people's children that are serving in the military, I prefer that they've served, preferably in combat. I do. And I don't think that that's unreasonable.
No.
So it's just a preference. It's not saying like it's not like an all, or like I'm not adamant about it, but yeah. And I think that the fact that we haven't had a commander-in-chief since George H.W. Bush that has served in the military speaks volumes as to where we are right now.
We do not count George W. Bush.
No,
he don't count.
No. So that to me, I do think speaks volumes. And even though I was not a Bush Senior fan, he was absolutely smart enough and had enough sense from his experience not to go into Iraq after they pushed Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait. That was the purpose. We were getting him out of Kuwait, and they wanted to. Oh, Wolfowitz and Rumsfeld and all those little ghouls were all standing there wanting him to go into Iraq, and he didn't, and he wrote a huge paper as to why that was a bad plan, because he actually was really bright. You can't run the CIA and not be bright. Yeah. So he wrote a whole paper on why it was a bad idea. And then they were able to get Junior to go in and do it, because Junior, not so bright.
Yeah. Well, they misunderestimated me.
So it was a bad plan.
Yeah. And I think, again, there were some good aspects about Tulsi,
yes,
but there is no question that Tulsi decided to move literally into the arms of, Tucker Carlson, the Fox News crowd, all of these guys. And she has made it her point to basically go hard after the Democrats. Now, I would not have a problem with that because there's a lot of valid points that she does make. But she seldom, if ever, goes after the GOP. And if that's not enough, here's somebody who I know on good authority is actually in New Hampshire right now campaigning for this election denier candidate, Bolduc, who's running for the U.S. Senate against Maggie Hassan.
You know somebody campaigning for that?
Tulsi's campaigning.
Oh, that's what she's doing? Oh, my God.
So for anyone who doesn't think that Tulsi doesn't have some type of a plan with the GOP, I don't know what you're looking at. It's pretty obvious as far as I can see. And yeah, and I agree, Joanna. Tulsi definitely, she's socially conservative, 100%.
Which is just not my jam.
Which again, not cool, but she could potentially be an economic populist and support these issues. But she has moved as far away from universal health care, living wage.
I don't think she was ever really in support of universal health care.
Maybe
I always questioned that. Like the way she sort of danced around that was really like it never felt like she was just saying, yes, I support this. It always felt like there was a song and a dance about healthcare with her. Always thought that.
So I would definitely say, from my perspective, I do think that there is the positives and the negatives, but at the same time, I understand that a lot of what she's doing is opportunism 100%.
I mean, yeah. And quite honestly, for me, it's not like I actually care one way or the other. It's not like I have such a strong connection with the party where I feel like, oh no, we'll miss her, or oh, glad she's gone. I really
it is unfortunate.
Well, for whom?
Well, but again, I guess that's really the whole thing about
Democrats,
politics.
Because they were so productive with her, like she really helped them be.
No, I'm saying that she didn't have to basically do what she's doing, but she sees where the dollar signs are. I still think that her long-term plan is to be the VP for either Trump or DeSantis. I think that is her goal. I could be wrong, but that's where I think she's going to land, and that's what I think she's trying to get at. She'll make money. She'll get
consulting.
No, but, doing her podcast, making TV appearances, that seems to be the thing that she likes to do.
I would think she'd end up getting like a really good job with somebody like, Raytheon or Boeing or one of those places.
She might very
She'd be an amazing, I could see her being like a lobbyist for that. Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.